Hi, I'm Muddy. Welcome to the Mudshire. So, a new Souls-like came out recently. In case you don't know much about me, I'm a casual for fun player, recently turned Souls enjoyer. And I'm here basically to help you figure out if another crab's treasure is going to be too hard for you. My resume is small, which would usually be a bad thing, but since I'm here to test the difficulty for a more casual gamer, I'm just the girl for the job. Based on first impressions, given how kind of cute and silly another crab's treasure comes off as, I expected it would be easier than the very few, other Souls-likes that I've tried. Maybe that's a weird assumption to make, but I've never really seen an unserious Souls-like before, nor have I seen it with a Switch release. Oddly enough, it was the fact that this game came out on Switch that had me convinced that it was not going to be difficult. I was like, no way. A Switch? That's for babies. There are no serious gamers on the Switch. That was wrong. That was a wrong assumption. But lo and behold, playing the game on Switch actually does make the game harder than on any other console. What do you mean by that, Muddy? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, huh? What do you mean it's harder on the Switch? Well, that would be because my first day with this game on Switch was met with a wide array of game-breaking bugs, as well as lag spikes and frame drops during just about anything, cutscenes, bosses, areas with like a little bit more enemies than usual. It was truly an interesting experience playing this game on Switch for the first time. I refunded the game in less than 4 hours. Now, my introduction to the game being awful on Switch left a pretty bad taste in my mouth, but I really wanted to play another Crab's Treasure anyway, so the next day I went ahead and bought it on PC. This totally changed my world. Suddenly the game was playable. Surprise! It was 1,000 times better. I do gotta say though, Switch players, you're not totally out of luck. The developers have said they're going to be working on a patch to fix the performance issues on Switch. But until that's out, I would probably not touch the game. I would not touch it or buy it or try to play it. I would try to get it anywhere else if you're really itching to play. I think you're just gonna have an awful time playing the Switch version as it is right now. Apparently, a couple patches have come out already and they haven't done much. So just wait on it. Just wait on it. Check it out on a different console, PC, whatever. Anyway, I'll be counting only my experience on PC for my review of the game's difficulty, for obvious reasons. So let's just jump into the depths with our little guy Krill and see what's up. Alright, we start off in an area called the Shallows. Very cool, I know. It has initially about, 3 different enemy types. I definitely consider most of the zone a little training area. The enemies here, very simple. Nothing to write home about. I don't really foresee anyone struggling with the intro of this game, but they do sneak in a little Elden Ring tricky move where there's a boss roaming around that's a little too strong for the point you're at. It's definitely a boss you can come back around to. Can you beat it when the game first starts? Sure, but that's totally up to you if you really want to challenge yourself. If you're new to Souls games, I definitely don't recommend it unless you like frustration, which some people do. Personally, as I've stated, as I'm a more casual gamer, when I start to get too frustrated, I just want to put the game down and play something else, something a little relaxing. But you can always give it a shot and see how you do and choose to come back later if it's too hard. It's no biggie. Lots of options. Once you get out of the starting area, the game really starts to ramp up. So far, I think the initial stretch out of the starting area and into, like the real game or whatever, that sounds cringy, but you know what I mean. The point where the game is treating you like you've learned how to play the game. Anyway, that area was the most difficult for me. You're still pretty weak at this point, and the enemies are starting to get a little more complicated. But even though I say it was the most difficult stage for me, it was not that hard. I definitely think it's doable for new players. I only got frustrated a couple times, and most of that frustration involved sucking at platforming, saying that it's like what was that? Honestly, when I think about maybe all the frustration I've experienced while playing, it's linked to the platforming sections. That's on me. That's just something that makes me mad. It's just something I suck at. But once again, it's not too bad. I never felt stuck. I never had to close the game because I was getting too upset. That is a big plus. But once again, it's not too bad. I never felt stuck. I never had to close the game because I was getting too upset. And that is a big plus for me. I usually have to take little mental resets with Souls games, but I was able to pick this up whenever I wanted and for the most part just have a chill time. What was that? Now, once you get into the real meat of the game, there's kind of two different things that can happen. A, you explore a lot and you're incredibly overpowered, or B, you didn't explore at all and you're kind of weak. Usually with Souls games, there's always the experience of, well, if I just grind a couple more levels, maybe this boss won't be that hard. As someone who explores, I've learned... What does it say? I wrote, as someone who explores, I've learned yeah, you will never have to grind in this game. That's what I wrote. That's what this page says. As someone who picked option A and explores a whole bunch, I've learned that you will never have to grind in this game. I actually started to get the feeling that I was too strong the more I played. I was beating most bosses in probably under 6 tries, which that made me feel really cool. It made me feel like I'm good at Souls games. But I could tell that I wasn't really learning their movesets or dodge tanking that well, which started to disappoint me. I generally wanted to spend a lot more time with the bosses I was up against. We can take a side note here, but this probably means the game is pretty good. I mean, if I want to keep fighting the bosses after I've defeated them, then that means they've got some cool designs, right? On the other hand, there's option B. A lot of the friends I've been watching on Twitch playing this game are not explorer types. They're literally just out in the sands between, raw dogging it basically. I've probably quadrupled their health bar without even leveling like a stat into HP, which is vitality in this game. And that's simply because I've explored a lot and collected a lot of items that increase your health. It's not just that though, I'm gapping them in levels despite being in the same area. Once again, just from exploring, not purposely grinding crab souls. But I'm not even just gapping them in levels, I'm gapping them in items, in outfits, in shells, and fork upgrades, you name it. I have everything. They are walking around in their underwear, basically. The fun part is I don't even really feel like I tried to do that, right? Like it just happened. I was just having fun all along the way, collecting things, looking around, exploring. But I did end up way too strong. So, what's the conclusion then? Is another Crab's Treasure too hard for new or more casual players? Definitely not. I expect many of us might struggle starting out in the very beginning of the game, but definitely felt like once I got going, the game was sometimes too easy. Not because of a lack of good level design or bosses, but because I just got too damn strong. This is a game where you'll definitely have to manage your own power level. They give you a lot of ways to make sure the game's easier. For example, there's a zone that has electric enemies, and when you get hit by an electric attack, it stuns you, which can be pretty harsh, but the game very quickly offers you an item that prevents the effect of electric attacks. See what I mean? Another Crab's Treasure is very forgiving and offers players different difficulty levels intrinsically. More experienced players looking for a difficult time will still be able to achieve that as long as they make sure not to use any of the many accommodations another Crab Treasure offers. Overall, I think the game is kind of perfect for both new Souls enjoyers and veterans. While it may not be as difficult as anything in the Dark Souls series, I think they would still find it enjoyable. I also think it's probably more manageable for veterans to figure out how to kind of nerf themselves. So I don't think it'll be a problem for them making it through the game and making it difficult enough for them.